Yo, what's going on guys? J-Cloud Anime Talk here, and finally, Black Clover Chapter 242, the official release, has dropped yesterday. I already did my review on the fan translation Saturday, and I promised you guys that once the official release drop, I will do a further breakdown and go in more detail and talk about things that I really didn't tap into and go in depth with, and also talk about how the community responded to this chapter as well. But one thing I will say, the fan translations were almost spot on with this week's chapter. The only thing that they missed was an important dialogue that happened between Asta going in rage mode. And it was a small dialogue, a 3-word dialogue that I will talk about in this video. So, I guess for starters, we can talk about the first major thing that happened in this chapter, and that is Dante going 50%. Now, my first initial thoughts when Dante went 50%, I didn't think this would happen this early. I didn't think that any of the Black Bulls will bring this out of him this soon. I was thinking more of the lines where Dante would just show the power that he has with his gravity magic to overpower all the Black Bulls and show that he doesn't need to transform. But I guess in this instance, once he noticed that Asta also has a devil form, it was only right for him to show his off as well. But I will say I do love the design. I wonder what's that symbol on his chest mean. I hope we get some context about that, but I do love the overall design. I mentioned this in my review, but I thought once he went 50%, it would be equivalent to like Zeno's. When Zeno went 50%, he had one devil horn, and the other side it was just boned wings and a one bone horn. But in this case, even though Zeno went 55%, with Dante going 50%, Tabata is showing that not all devils are made equally. You know, Dante using 50% is showing that he even has more power than Zeno at 55. So it also links up with the idea of devil ranks. In this chapter, Dante mentioned that his rank was superior to Asta. They are not in the same league, and that is very interesting. That's something I would probably say for a video in itself, talk about the devil ranks in Black Clover, what we've seen so far, because I really want to talk about that and theorize what this could possibly mean for the future. Now, this is something I want to correct myself on, because in my review, I talked about that Dante destroyed all the clones of Asta. But now reading the Viz translations, it makes more sense of what he actually did. He warped space momentarily to disappear, making Asta miss, then reappearing on Asta's shoulder. Now, we all know that in the fans translations, the panels are much darker. So seeing it in the Viz translations, I have a more broader understanding of what happened during that moment. And this is Dante's very own variation of controlling his own mana zone. And we all know the way that mana zone works. It lets the user manipulate the mana within the area and within themselves. They can use it offensively and defensively, and in this sense, this was defensive in the case of Dante. And it's crazy because Dante's mana zone is so powerful that he can warp space. We never seen that before, and he can just disappear at 50%. At 50%, really, Tabata? Are you really that mad? He's that broken. It's not fair to our main cast. Don't let them suffer like that. But I like it. I did see some parts of the fandom didn't want Dante to transform in this chapter. They felt as though it was too early and he didn't need to transform against Asta and Gauche and everyone else. But remember guys, we've seen Dark Disciples with 40% fight everyone else. We've seen what happened with that 40% devil power, what they did to the Golden Dawn. Zeno really didn't have to do anything. He just took care of William. But we've seen what they did. Pretty much all of them got slaughtered until Yuno showed up. But I think Tabata is showing in a way where these guys are using only 50 or 55% or 60, just showing the clear difference of power and also giving us clues of what to look forward to within this arc. Remember, it was stated that Zeno can use up to 80% of devil powers. He only showed us 55. That is a huge difference. That's a huge gap between 80. So it's a lot of power we're going to see. And for Dante's case, we don't know what percentage it can be, but my guess is 100. That is my best bet because, you know, he talks about Demon King and his magic attacks. So we can state that Dante is a Demon King. It only makes sense for a Demon King to use up to the fullness of a devil power. Now, for me, the best part about this chapter was the conversation that Dante had with Asta about his ideals versus Asta ideals. He states that even though our ranks are different, we are both devil possessed. We should be able to see eye to eye. But Asta wasn't falling for it. He was like, no, just pretty much you're evil. I'm not. I cannot see eye to eye with you. But strangely enough, being called evil, Dante took that as a compliment because he felt as though that being evil is a true human emotion, is the true essence of a human. Anger, revenge, destruction, that is the power of malice. Releasing your darkest emotion, that is when you are the most human. Evil is the true shape of humanity. Now, I did mention this in my review that Dante, his logic is really twisted, but you cannot really disagree on a lot of what he said. All of us in life have been in situations where we hated someone or hated something or was very angry about something and wanted revenge on anything. Scratch that. This is something that we see in the real world, where we see on the news every single day someone has took the life of someone else. We see war, crazy conflict, dumb politics, people hating just the way of someone looks because they look different than them, different hair, different skin, just based on where they from or what they do. Someone can literally just hate you based on what you do. They feel as though you're better than them and they hate that. These are real emotions. This is real stuff that happens. We even see it in the story of Black Clover, where if you're not a noble or a royal, you're not really important. They treat commoners different, like they just not human, they just aliens. And they are treated that way from the moment we seen when Sister Lily talked about that the commoners and the peasants, they cannot live near the Clover capital because they have low magic. They're treated differently and they also hated against. We even seen that the Diamond Kingdom literally attacked and tried to invade the Clover Kingdom because they are low on resources. We seen it stated during that time that Lotus said that their country is now low on resources, and at that time, the Clover Kingdom was doing better than them. Still doing better than them in the present, but we ain't gonna talk about that, rip. But why else would the Diamond Kingdom try to invade the Clover Kingdom? They want what they have. They trying to take over their country at that time. And we seen it with Asta throughout the whole entire series, where he was treated differently against royals, some royals, but especially the Clover Kingdom king. He was treated wrongly because he doesn't have magic. And now it's because he has a devil. And now the House of Kira kicked him out of the Clover Kingdom. He's on trial to prove his innocence, even though he just saved the entire kingdom. And this is the reason why Asta wants to become the Wizard King. He wants to change the entire system, the entire view of how the world sees everything. Because Asta has a good heart. Even told Dante that having a strong heart and knowing how to control it, that's what's called being human. That is the essence of being human. And he's right as well. When a villain is challenging the ideals of the main character in the story, that is the traits of a great villain in the future. You know, we only seen Dante for 5 chapters, but challenging Asta on the ideals, we did not see that with the Word Magic Devil. The Word Magic Devil was just evil for the sake of being evil because he is evil. There was really no pure depth into his character. He's a genius, but I felt as though Tabata didn't give us a broader aspect about his character. It's very hard to read still to this day. But some people love villains like that, just being evil because they are evil. But the villains I really love is the ones that are evil but really mean it. They have a reason behind it, and I feel as though Dante has a reason. Something tragic happened to his life, and I think it's due to the fact of being connected with that devil for so long, probably in the past 16 to 17 years now. It changed his perspective because a lot of times he talk in third person. And he told Asta that he is a strange devil host. But I think this all setting up for Dante actually deep down is trying to recruit Asta to his side, trying to make Asta just like him. And I think that is why he wanted Asta to show his true emotions after he killed, or we think at this time, Gauche could be dead. But I think that's why he stabbed Gauche, to make Asta go into rage mode, to give into that darkness emotion. And we seen at the end of the chapter, it worked. And I think this could be very dangerous for Asta because we seen when he transformed, his mouth was drooling, he was more covered in black, grew an extra wing, an extra horn. The anti-magic devil is taking more control of his body. This is what he wants. He wants to be able to control a physical body, and he wants Asta's. I think soon enough we're going to see another conversation with Asta and his devil. But Dante, this is what he wants as well. He wants Asta to lose control. And I think potentially he sees Asta as a future and perfect apprentice. Almost like how the Emperor tried to shape Anakin Skywalker, and eventually it happened. You created Darth Vader. I don't think we're ready for Darth Asta yet. Or unless you know how to get very strong to take him out. But I I really don't want to see that. That is scary to think about. Now, the last thing I want to talk about that happened in this chapter was this was not in the fans' translations. The dialogue was missing on this panel, but for Viz Media, the dialogue said "my beloved son" with someone bleeding holding their hand out. And I'm glad that the Viz translation brought this into fruition. But a lot of the questions that everyone has is, who is this? What does this mean? How did this trigger Asta? Or was this a flashback to his past? And I'm pretty sure this has to be the first clear-cut evidence about Asta's past. This is huge. This is probably the most underrated thing that happened in this chapter because people are so lost. What could this mean? Is this Asta's mother, father, or someone that's connected to him that sent him to Gauche village? Because we know Yuno's past. And in this arc, it's a trend, it's a cycle here. Yuno remembers his past, Noelle remembers her past, and now it's time for Asta. They are connected to the Dark Triad in some way. Yuno really connected to all of the Dark Triad members, but especially Zeno so far. We know that Noelle is connected to Vonica because of her mother. It only makes sense for Asta to be connected to Dante. Something is related to him, or some connection is there about his past, and probably connected to Dante as well. This is so big that I feel as though if I talk about this video will be another 10 minutes long. So I'm going to save this for a whole different type of video and talk about this mysterious past of Asta because clues are here now. So if you guys really enjoyed these video breakdowns of the chapter, I will do more of this. Review the fan translations when they drop Saturday or Friday, and then go more in depth of the chapter and do one of these chapter breakdown videos at the official release drops. So if you guys enjoyed this, leave a like on this video. I appreciate it a lot. Subscribe with notification bells on if you are new. Join my Discord, link in the description. Also my Twitter, follow me on there. Link will be in the description. You guys have an awesome life. Take care of yourselves, and I'm out.